Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. In this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We are here breaking down every storyline in the NFL, in the sports world, and you can't teach that. Bada boom. Man, the people in the room. G Money Grant Mitchell, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Tanner. I was out in the city last night, touching pavement, really. Not much grass in Washington, D.C. Went and saw the Lakers play the Wizards. It was a Wizards home game, and I would think there was about 95% Lakers jerseys in there. Surprised me. Thought the Wizards jerseys are going for like $5 right now, so I thought maybe everybody would be flocking to those. The Wizards were down 33 points at halftime. The loudest cheer of the entire game was when Bronny James checked into the game. It was really like it looked like a traveling circus. Honestly, it's shocking. I was talking to somebody. I said, if you're a player on the Wizards and you're just out, let's say like you're out at your girlfriend's company dinner and you're talking to some people and they say, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" Do you have the right to say I'm a professional basketball player? The team is 6-41. They have the 5th lowest winning percentage in NBA history. I was almost excited just to see how bad they actually were. And I was with my girlfriend. I was telling her, I want them to get the all-time record for worst season ever. Because at this point, like, you strive for greatness. Like, you're that close to being the worst ever. Just go ahead and do it.
How is NBA All-Star Kyle Kuzma doing?
NBA All-Star Kyle Kuzma? He made 2 threes very quickly early in the game. The Wizards went up like 8-7, and I don't know if he scored after that.
Lonzo looked good against Celtics the other night for the Bulls.
Lonzo's actually a really, really good role player. He's probably like the perfect role player. He doesn't put up crazy stats, but every time the trade deadline approaches, there are a bunch of teams that call the Bulls about him.
Yeah, and Grant, you being a LeBron lover, and there's no reason not to like LeBron, but we got to get Bronny out of the league. We can't have what's going on. It's ruining LeBron's, like, it's not ruining his reputation, but it's ruining LeBron's, like, just pull. Like, I don't want to see Bronny James on an NBA floor right now. He's not ready to play in the NBA at all. I don't care if it's the last 2 minutes of the game. He's not ready.
I don't know if it's a LeBron. I think it might be a league thing. I think it might be like the credibility of the NBA. It's a weird situation though, because Bronny did have a heart attack a year ago. Let's not act like that didn't set his development back a little bit. Yeah. And when he's been in the G League, he's been one of the best players in the G League. He's averaged like 21 points. He's averaged like 21, 7, and 5 or something crazy. So you would look at that and you would say, okay, recovering from the heart attack, he's probably going to keep getting better and better and better. It's like, he probably should be ready for the jump. But then when he goes to the NBA, he sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. He hasn't played a lot of basketball. So
it's funny too, because I'm not joking. When he checked in for the game, that was the loudest it got the whole night until he got an and one, and then it literally erupted. It was actually one of the biggest crowd pops I've ever witnessed live. It was a Bronny James and one, and they were chanting MVP when he was at the free throw line, and like, that's obviously a joke. But the cheers when he checked in, the cheers every time, when a play is like developing and there's kind of like the buzz, every time Bronny got the ball, there was that buzz. I think people genuinely want him to succeed. I don't think it's a joke, but no. When he goes to the free throw line and they're chanting MVP, like, okay, we're going too far here.
Feels like a Make-A-Wish kid, kind of.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want him to not feel like he's being patronized just because he happens to be, LeBron's kid.
But that's what's going on. And nobody in their right mind wants to see Bronny James fail. Like, Bronny James has done nothing wrong. The kid just likes playing Fortnite, it seems. Like, he stays out of the limelight. He does his own thing. And it's got to be really hard for him too, because we all know why he's there right now. We all know why he's on an NBA floor. He knows it too. Everyone knows, everyone's talking about it. And he probably could be a legitimate, 6th man in the NBA someday, right? But right now he's on the floor because of his father. We all know it. So it's got to be hard for him too. It's a tough situation.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
Anyways, Grant, we got a lot to talk about, including Justin Tucker. We got a lot to talk about today. Justin Tucker is going to be a big storyline, though. But before we talk about Justin Tucker, and if you don't know what's going on with Justin Tucker, you want to stay put for the show. Grant, tell them why they need to check out WSN.
Yeah, I mean, breaking news on the Justin Tucker front. We're here to report the news, so stick around for that. But also, if you're into sports betting in any shape or form, then go to WSN.com, the World Sports Network. Tanner, myself, a bunch of experts from around the country, around the world even. We are covering everything under the sun. That includes the Super Bowl, but it also includes the NBA All-Star Weekend, the MLB, NHL, fighting, Premier League soccer, whatever it is, you're going to find it over there. We preview games, share betting picks. We got promo codes for sportsbooks to get you guys some extra prizes. So go over there, check it out at WSN.com.
100%. So, Grant, just speaking on sexual allegations in the workplace in the sports world lately, let's go back to Fox Sports. I want to go back to Fox first. I want to talk about Skip Bayless. I want to talk
We're
about
really rounding the bases here.
No. I'm just going to compare it to the Justin Tucker situation. Then obviously we'll bring Deshaun Watson, but he's kind of old news now. When you look at Joy Taylor and you look at Skip Bayless, Skip's acting like nothing happened. Joy Taylor's still on the air. There's been no apologies. Like, that story's kind of slipped under the rug. And, Dave Portnoy came out when that happened and said, if I was Joy Taylor or I was Skip Bayless and there was truly nothing against me, I would have come out and made a statement. And I know their lawyers probably didn't want them to do that, but I would have come out and said, I did nothing wrong. I will stand on that word, because in a way, if you truly are innocent, that's probably the best way to handle it, because there's no dirt. They can't find anything on you. Now, Joy Taylor, Skip Bayless, stay quiet. And there's no doubt in my mind something happened there. No doubt in my mind. With Justin Tucker, he comes out, he makes a statement right away on Twitter. Basically talking about how, he held himself as a professional athlete. He's been a true pro, whatever. Allegations are wrong, blah, 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 blah. But he put out a statement right away. Do you think that means it's more likely he's guilty or more likely he's innocent?
Well, first of all, I think there is just a key difference in that Justin Tucker is athletes are a little more individualized. They play for the Ravens, obviously, and the Ravens are part of the NFL, but it's different than a Joy Taylor, who is a host of a show on FS1. She doesn't have quite the same power as herself. And Skip Bayless, maybe a little bit more because he is bigger and more famous than Joy Taylor is, but it's still part of the same thing. You're still contracted to a big media network. Not anymore. Obviously, Skip has his own thing now, but it's a little different. You're not yourself. Like in the NFL, you can go to the Ravens and say, I demand a trade. It's not like Skip Bayless can walk into work and say, I demand a new show, or I demand you let me go to ESPN. It's a little bit different. Does it make him look more or less guilty? I almost expect anytime allegations come out, even if they're correct, even if they're true, I expect the person to put out a statement of some sort. So I don't really look at it as either way. Honestly, it's kind of a non-story. And I'll be honest, I didn't read Justin Tucker's statement. I saw that he put one out. I didn't read it because I already knew what was going to be in there. And I'm not saying he did or did not do what he's being accused of, but everything right now is kind of going by the playbook. I think what we just have to do is sit back and wait to see what is turned up.
Yeah, I think Justin Tucker's kicking career in the NFL is going to be done. I think we can almost confirm that. It depends how much money the Ravens got to pay him, though.
I'll look up his contract.
Yeah, he's probably got a few more years left. But Justin Tucker was not effective. Like, there were moments this year where Justin Tucker has not been good. It's definitely, his career is kind of fading. But then you can make the case that, well, is the career fading because this story is starting to come out? Deshaun Watson, same thing. Deshaun Watson was a great quarterback. Like, there was a period where Deshaun was the guy.
He was top 5 in the NFL.
It made sense that he would get a big contract, but he's not like that anymore. He can barely play football. So obviously the head junk's floating in. Maybe that's the case for Justin Tucker. Very mental position too. Yeah,
the curse of Justin Tucker was supposedly when Travis Kelce tossed his kicking tee. You remember that? When they were warming up before the game, and Justin Tucker was on the Chiefs side of the field, and Travis Kelce just ran over and threw his tee away. And from that point on, Justin Tucker's stats went way downhill. But this was brewing behind the scene. I could be wrong. I think the first incident might have been reported as early as 2018. So this has been brewing. This has been festering for quite a long time. And again, this is all we're just hypothetically saying it is true. We're not actually stating it is, but in this scenario where it is true, that's 8 years now, or 7 years that this has been going on behind the scenes, building. if this did happen, and there have been more and more cases, and supposedly he's been banned from 2 different spas or salons, whatever, then it's reasonable that it would, just sit in his head. And when you're under extreme bit of mental stress, then your performance is going to drop. And as a professional athlete, you've got to be the best in the world. Justin Tucker was the best kicker ever. So anytime you don't live up to that standard, it's going to be pretty obvious.
I mean, he missed some bad field goals this year. There were some kicks that he just should never miss. And honestly, Hall of Fame numbers too. And kicked out of 2 salons. That's hard to do. If you truthfully, let's be real. Let's be real. If maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. You're innocent till proven guilty, right? Innocent till proven guilty. With that being said, if you are a professional athlete in a salon, you get kicked out of 2 salons, I'm probably gonna lean on something happened.
Yeah, something. That's the bottom line. Something had to have happened. Is it quite the gory details of him leaving parts of himself on the massage table? Does it have to be that? That could be an exaggeration. Maybe he didn't make physical contact with intimate areas of his body with the massage therapist, but something happened. You don't get banned from 2 parlors just for nothing. I'm sure you've gotten massages because you played football. I've got massages when I ran track. You go, you take.
I don't like it.
You take your clothes off. You wrap the towel around yourself. You sit there. You don't really talk for an hour, and then you leave. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Now, but if I'm a salon massage therapist, run a parlor, and when I say parlor, I think rub and tug. So I don't, maybe I feel like he was going to some high end places. I could be wrong.
Probably.
Yeah. If I'm seeing a professional athlete walk in the door, I want him to keep coming back, and then I'm going to get his whole team coming back, and I'm going to get referrals, and we're going to get more business. So yeah. So if you're kicking a professional athlete out, something happened. So even though he put the statement out, I can't imagine that something's not true there, because nobody's out to get Justin Tucker. Maybe I can't imagine a massage parlor. I keep saying parlor, Grant. I keep saying parlor. Massage therapists are out to get Justin Tucker. He's a professional athlete. They want his business. It's cool for him to come in.
So Justin Tucker has 3 years left on his contract. They have a potential out after next year. He's due to make about $7 million for each of the next 3 seasons, which is a lot of money for a kicker. If they cut him next season, it would be a $7 million hit in dead cap.
That's a lot for a kicker. But if he gets arrested and can't play, they don't have to pay him. There's probably some workarounds in the contract. If he gets arrested or he gets suspended, they don't have to pay him. Let's
see. So his contract is for 20. It was a 4-year, $24 million deal. There was 14 million guaranteed at signing, 17.5 total guaranteed. So that leaves about 7 million non-guaranteed money. And I'm guessing if he was arrested, then he would probably lose that.
Good. So yeah, he's going to be done. He was not good this year. What was the only worst kicker I've seen? And I'm not, maybe make it be a little more extreme here, but Jake Elliott, that dude is trash.
And those were the 2 best kickers in the league for a good bit.
Jake Elliott is trash.
Justin Tucker was a 73% on his field goals this year. That was 36th, and there are only 32 teams.
Every time, and with this, we can segue into the game because not much else to talk about. Well, if you guys want more up-to-date news on Justin Tucker, stay tuned to the pod because we will be breaking it down here. But it's a sad situation. Again, something probably happened if he's getting kicked out of massage parlors. Big story. Deshaun Watson kind of put this on the map now. So if something does happen and he is, convicted or whatever, I don't think he plays in the NFL ever again based on how Deshaun Watson's trajectory was, especially at his age too. He's getting up there.
Something else we got to talk about, Tanner, something that big in the news that we did not plan on talking about.
What?
We got to talk about Terry Rozier.
Oh yeah, Terry. Yeah. He's betting on himself. Why do these guys do this?
So for anybody who doesn't know, Terry Rozier supposedly involved in a betting scandal where he manipulated his performances and his availability so that people could essentially bet his under and he would cash the under for them.
That's a big player. Like we're getting to bigger name players now.
Yeah,
Like
the Jonte Porter thing, like, okay, he was a two-way guy, just came in, he's playing like 10 minutes a night. Terry Rozier, the Miami Heat traded for Terry Rozier because they believed he was the piece that was going to push them toward a championship. It didn't work out, but that's what they thought. Terry Rozier was averaging 21, 22 points per game with the Hornets. So, to your point, the big player.
Terry Rozier has made $133 million in his career to play basketball. 133. You idiot. Idiot.
So what I saw is that the NBA has already investigated him, and I believe they didn't find anything. He's now under investigation by the feds, which never a good sign. Supposedly I think he was involved in the same people who were betting on Jonte Porter, which kind of like, who are these people? How do they have such good connections with the NBA players?
If I'm Jonte Porter, you can't make the case for it no matter what, because Jonte Porter is still significantly richer than the average human being walking around. But with Jonte Porter, at least I can make the case. Well, like two-way guy, like up and down, like not a guy. Like it's just a dude on a bench. It's not a guy. Like Terry Rozier, $133 million in your career. Are you stupid? Are you stupid, Terry?
So you want to hear a hot take of mine?
What?
I think all professional athletes should be allowed to bet on themselves if they're betting the over or their team to win. I think that should be allowed.
I disagree with that because they make too much money. Like they don't need to. If you're betting on your team, I get maybe it makes it more exciting, but then we're kind of like encouraging gambling problems too. Like we're also giving guys that have a ton of money to gamble, like betting on themselves. Then it becomes again. I think in fighting, that's one thing. If it's a UFC event and I'm going to bet on myself to win, that's great. But then you could also make the case, well, if I'm going to drop $2 million or $1 million on myself to win, then I can get the other guy. I'll give you a nice cut if you just take the fall for me. Like we get into that situation too. And again, these guys don't need to gamble. They should just be excited to go out there and play the damn game. That's the problem.
Yeah, they should. Look, if there's real truth to this, if there are likes to this, more players are going to be coming. Because to your point, Terry Rozier, he was set for life. His kids were set for life. Their kids, their kids, their kids. He set up his entire lineage. Because with $130 million, all you got to do is invest it, and it'll make money itself. You were good. So for a guy to have that much money, and for him to be as good as he was, he's never made an all-star team, but there were a couple of years when he was with the Hornets. Again, he was averaging like 22. People were saying, could Terry Rozier get into the all-star game? It was a good player. Someone who's established. He was on a bunch of those runs to the conference finals with the Celtics, made a ton of money. For him to be involved in this, there are going to be a lot of players that are going to be, we might be a few years down the line, but we're going to say, yeah, they were involved in something somehow.
I just wonder what the final. That's 133 million playing basketball. Obviously, you're losing money to taxes. You got brand deals, though. You have appearance deals. You have all this stuff. You got bonuses. You got everything.
I think he has a shoe deal.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. I mean, Terry's a big this is a big name. Like, if you don't watch the NBA, you know who Terry Rozier is. Like, you don't know who Jonte Porter is, but you probably know you've heard Terry Rozier's name. And, like I learned it more in Boston, like just like scary Terry, like, yep. And I wonder what makes it. And again, he didn't do anything, like innocent till proven guilty, like same thing with Justin Tucker, all that blah, blah, blah. But what makes it appealing enough for you to throw your career, throw your reputation in jeopardy, and then you're going to cut into a significant chunk of that 133 million with legal fees? So I just don't. And then you're going to do jail time. So I don't even understand where the appeal is, how much these guys have to be making as a cut to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it's a situation where just the player has to stop and think for a second. If a sports book takes $1 million bet on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, okay, that's understandable. If they get $1 million bet on the Dodgers to win the World Series, okay, cool. If they get $1 million bet on Terry Rozier under 15.5 points, it's not the same thing. It stands out.
Yeah, the system goes off. Like that's what they don't understand. All these dumbasses in the league, like Jonte Porter, for example, what was 100,000? Was $80,000 on
$80,000
on a
on
three
a
leg under?
parlay of Jonte Porter props.
Like, dude, the system the system's good. There is a lot of checks and balances in the gambling system to make sure this stuff doesn't happen. There's people assigned just to the gambling system to make sure the legal activity does not happen. So I don't get it. I don't know. I would love if Terry is guilty. I would love to know what he was making. Again, you can make the case for Jonte Porter. It can be pretty lucrative for him, but you can't make the case for Terry Rozier.
Yeah, and like Jonte, supposedly he was down bad with these guys. He might have been in debt, owe them some money. Like if that's Terry Rozier, 130 in career earnings just off your contracts, not including, like you said, appearances and sponsorships and deals and all that. Like he could have, if he was in debt with these guys, he probably could have paid it off. So what was the point?
And I don't know too. I mean, a lot of guys blow through their league money, but it's hard to blow through $133 million.
Yeah, it's not like the NFL, because I mean the NFL guys go broke very quickly. The NBA guys, they just make so much money on these contracts.
Well, even Jonte, what was Jonte Porter making like when he was in the league? Like,
well, he was only making like 400,000 a year or something like that.
He's doing two-way, but like if you're like even like what is, for example, what does like Luke Cornett make?
I would guess he's making a few million a year.
Like Luke Cornett's equivalent in Luke Cornett's on a 9-year, $16 million deal. So a little over $1 million.
He's on a 9-year deal?
Yeah, that's what it says.
That's crazy.
He'll be undrafted free agent when he's 29. I mean, I don't. His salary is $2.8 million for the 2024 season. Like, what is Luke Cornett in football terms?
I mean, $3 million for a football player.
He's a special teamer.
For $3 million a year?
No, but that's his equivalent.
Oh, yeah.
I'd call him a special teamer that gets some playing time, depending on it's hard because you don't have 82 games in basketball. But like Luke Cornett's making $3 million a year. NBA money is ridiculous. These guys make so much money.
Yeah, I don't know why, but the New England Patriots, probably because I'm talking to you, the New England Patriots were the first team that popped in my mind. So I want to see who's making the same as Luke Cornett. So people making $3 million a year on the Patriots. Jalen Polk is making less than that. Cole Strange is making $3 million. Christian Gonzalez is making $4 million. Antonio Gibson's making $4.5 million. So
and Cole Strange is a first-round pick too. So that's where basketball money, it's much harder to run out of money quick. And again, if Terry Rozier was truly in debt, and I don't know if he was or not, but if you blew through $133 million, that's a problem in itself. It's making $25 million this year. I mean, you could live off $25 million. Your kids could live off your $25 million contract invested correctly this season, just off your money you're making right now.
Yes. And his career's not over. He's got a lot more years left where he could make a lot more money.
How old is he?
I want to say he's only like 31, 32.
Yeah. So, I mean, he can ride pine and make $5-6 million a year, I bet, by the end of it. Okay. Use code. These tweets are so funny. Twitter, we are, just by the way, too, people, I know a lot of like politically people don't like Twitter, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care because this is awesome. Twitter, we are in the golden age of Twitter, the golden age of this app. Here's a good tweet right now for you. The NBA takes gambling allegations against Terry Rozier very seriously. Use code Federal Investigation for a $200 bonus bet on your first $5 wager with DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Yeah, I remember. This when Shohei Ohtani, that whole thing was going through. It was like, and now we're back on the FanDuel television network to talk about Shohei Ohtani. The MLB, overwhelmingly disapproves of these allegations. We want nothing to do with this, and so that's why the next time the Dodgers visit the Caesars Sportsbook Arena, they will not be entitled to any of the treatment that comes with it. And Shohei Ohtani's deal with Bet 365 will not be affected.
I just remember there was a tweet after, like at the end of the season, Shohei's at the Lakers game and he's with his wife And like he's talking to her. It's the television broadcast clip, and it's like somebody puts the quote tweets, and it's like I got Lakers -8. That means they have to win by 9. If they win by 8, it's a push. Like I don't know if you saw that one, but
Yeah.
Twitter, we are in the golden age of this app, so enjoy it while it's here. And again, if you don't like Elon, whatever, we're staying out of that talk. But this is just to take it for what it is. We're in the golden age. We'll never leave it.
Also, don't go on Twitter if you're sensitive. We'll say that.
Yeah, but come on. Like, again, I see a lot of people during the day in my day-to-day business, like a tweet ruins their day. Are you kidding me? Are you that soft where a tweet something that you see on Twitter ruins your day? Like, come on, man.
Most of the people on there won't even put pictures of themselves. They just put little cartoon images, or it's sports, or it's an AI image, because nobody on there is a real person. So don't let it affect you.
Well, that's like Nick Wright went on, I think it might have been on Levitard, or he was on some podcast, and he was talking about like ML football and Dov Kleiman and like control the football conversation. That's what Twitter's come to. Like Twitter has come to these guys, and they're rage baiting and all that, and it's awesome. I love it. If I want legitimate sports news, I'm not probably Twitter's still the most up-to-date place to get news, but you also get a lot of opinion within the news, which is, I think it makes it more fun.
There's also a lot of disinformation, which makes it difficult, because sometimes you'll get in an argument with somebody and they think they know everything and they actually know nothing.
Well, so I saw like the Devin Booker, I was scrolling through, like, the 2020 interview on Devin Booker with the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Talks about getting snubbed.
Yeah.
Like, did he make the All-Star team this year?
No, he did not.
Right. So like people were recirculating that this year, and I'm like, is this accurate? Is this like this right now? So, and I couldn't find it when I saw it off a Devin Booker meme account, and then, but if you Google it, it's a real clip. So it's just got to be careful out there with Twitter.
Well, I saw an old tweet that I think it was from like 2020, 2021, whenever there was a game where Terry Rozier left in the second quarter, and the tweet said, and it was from a sports betting handicap or something or another, somebody in the industry. I don't know exactly what they did, but the tweet was, just got inside information that Terry Rozier will be leaving the game in the second quarter. I'm slamming all of his unders, and they had like a ticket with a parlay and everything. And this is from 2020 or whenever it was. But then you go to the bottom and it says last edited yesterday at 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's hard. But again, that's why it's free speech. It's great. It's so funny. I laugh so hard on Twitter, and a lot of good stuff on Twitter is coming out about the Chiefs, Grant, and about the Eagles and the Birds.
Good segue.
And very, elite segue there. I'll say that. Patrick Mahomes, has he ever lost in a dome? I saw one tweet that was like he's lost one game. I saw another that he's undefeated. I don't think he's ever lost in an indoor stadium.
Well, let's see if we can find an answer to that
on Twitter.
Patrick Mahomes has not lost in a dome game yet. He has an 11-0 record in dome games. He has 3,327 yards, 26 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Well, I want to preface this with if you go on Twitter right now, like you can't find a stat that favors the Eagles from like a trend perspective. With that being said, Patrick Mahomes doesn't lose football games, so it makes sense that he's undefeated in domes. Like that's where I can take the step back and say it's not domes. It's not like Jared Goff in dome where he can't play outside. Like Patrick Mahomes does not lose. So if you take him on a grass field, turf field, dome, it does not matter. He's just going to win games. So.
Yeah, I saw that with, I think it was the Sean Hockley crew, the crew that did the NFC Championship game. As a Commanders fan, like even setting my bias aside, the Eagles got the better treatment from the refs. That did not make the difference. I'm not saying that's why they won the game, but they did get better treatment. And after the game, there was a bunch of stuff going around that the Eagles are now 7-0 over the last 4 seasons with Sean Hockley's crew calling. It's like, I think the Eagles might have the best record in the NFL over the last 4 seasons. It's if it's not them, then it's the Chiefs. Like, it makes sense that they're going to be 7-0. They're on they've won like 14 of their last 15 games.
Yeah. And everyone too that was saying, I know you're a Commies fan. Everyone's like, I want Commanders, Bills. Who in their right mind, when we look at this matchup, and I know you're a Commanders fan, I want to take Buffalo and I want to take the DMV out of this. Who in their right mind would not want to see the Eagles play the Chiefs for the Super Bowl? You are a sick human being if you don't want to see that matchup.
Well, people just don't want to see it. First of all, we saw it 2 years ago, so people don't want to see it from that perspective. Eagles fans are unbearable, whether you're a Commanders fan like me or not. They're just the worst people in the world. And one of my best friends is an Eagles fan, so I'm sorry, but it's just not friendly. I'm sure you've seen the videos of like the Commanders fans just leaving the stadiums, minding their own business. People are running up, stealing their hats. They're getting punched, like what? They're starting fights, whatever. And then with the Chiefs, they're just everywhere. I mean, Travis Kelce's being shoved down everybody's throat. The Taylor Swift cuts, the treatment from the referees, the fact they always win everything. It's just two teams and fan bases that people have grown tired of. So I don't think people wanted to see Bills Commanders. I think they wanted to not see the Chiefs and they wanted to not see the Eagles. And those were the two options.
I'm just saying from a football perspective, I can understand that. But honestly, you got to be a sick human being to not want to see the Chiefs make history. If you want the Eagles to win, great. But if you're like actively rooting against the Chiefs because they win so much, we have the chance to, number one, witness a three-peat, which is never going to happen again in the history of football. And we get the chance to see that potentially in this game. Also, I don't know who's going to win this game. Like, I think the Chiefs will win because they are the Chiefs and they always find ways to win. The Eagles are a really good team, though. I can't say that the Commanders versus the Chiefs would have been, as hard to predict. So this is going to be a really good football game, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, I'm talking about this game, and we've been previewing it, but like not sharing our picks because we kind of want to save that towards the end of next week. But the Eagles are the better team on paper. We talked about this on the last show. We said the only spots on the roster where the Chiefs have the clear advantages: quarterback, center. Even though Cam Jurgens is good, you still got to give Chris Jones the advantage, but it's Jalen Carter on the other side. And then tight end, you said you would take Travis Kelce. I didn't list that at first, but I was like, okay, in the postseason that makes sense. But Travis Kelce had his worst season of his career, had like 700 yards, 3 touchdowns, not great numbers. So you look all up and down and not everything, most things favor the Eagles, but the big position on the field is quarterback and then obviously head coach as well. And we know the Chiefs have both of those in their favor. So it's like, which side of that is going to win out?
Yeah, it's going to be a really good football game. I'm looking forward to it. Anything, that you've seen this week that's making you lean towards one side or the other?
I haven't seen anything new. We joked before the show. You said that all the trends you've been seeing favor the Chiefs. And I said, well, over the last 8 Super Bowls, I think all 8 teams that traveled west won the Super Bowl, and that would be the Eagles. The Chiefs are traveling east. So maybe geographically, this is a Philadelphia advantage.
But it's like we're going like down. We're both making triangles going down. The Chiefs, that must be a quick flight to New Orleans. I feel, what's that, an hour flight maybe?
Yeah, probably an hour and a half.
Yeah, right. So I mean, the Eagles got a not decent haul, but it's still Central Time there. So they're going East Coast to Central Time. The Chiefs are probably in Central Time, I would think.
How early do they get there?
Monday, because opening night's Monday, so they'll do their interviews and stuff, and then they're there the whole week. And Monday's their big media day, though. I think the rest of the week it's like quarterbacks and coaches at the hotel, and then they're just practicing pretty much the whole time.
And where do they practice? Are they practicing like LSU?
Yeah, I think probably LSU's will be one site, and then maybe a nice high school or a nice. There's what other school? There's got to be other 1AA programs in Louisiana, but also you don't want them on campus too. Like that's the hard thing. It's like you got kids are on campus right now too, so you can't necessarily do that. I bet there's dome complexes, indoor complexes they're at and all that. You need me, and then hotel there at meetings. They're in the hotel the whole time.
Yeah, I remember the Commanders. You remember week 3 they played the Bengals on Monday Night Football, and then week 4 they were on the road against the Cardinals. So rather than go back home to DC and then fly back out, they went straight from Cincinnati after the game to Arizona. And they were practicing at Arizona State's facilities. And I was having that same thought process, like, okay, so a couple of kids on their way to geometry class are just going to walk down and the Commanders are going to be walking by to go to the facility. It's just a little strange.
Yeah, I'm sure they keep them pretty quiet, get them in on the bus, get them out. But that's another thing too. This is a different week of preparation. Who's going to handle that the best? It's probably going to be the Chiefs because they always handle it well. And the Eagles, Eagles will be ready to play in this game. I don't trust Sirianni. That's what I continue to see. And he's a great coach, but I don't trust when it comes down to a drive that needs to be put together with a team that's super connected with an ultimate goal of winning their third championship. I just think the Chiefs have that edge, and it's so big. It's massive. That's the biggest place where we can find the edge.
I 1000% agree with you. And it's so weird that we continue to have conversations about Nick Sirianni not being a good coach. And again, conversations I would support. But this guy wins more than anybody. His winning percentage is off the charts. He's gotten to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years. And winning is basically the end all be all for a coach. Like, we can't look at your passing yards or your interceptions or your sacks. It's just, what's your record? And his record is amazing, yet we don't look at him as a good coach. It's just funny how that's worked out.
The three-peat's got to happen at some point. It really does. And I think this is, if you're looking at a guy, if you're looking at the golden boy, it probably happens here. But again, you get the story. Like, if I'm a writer, if I'm an NFL writer and it was scripted, it's not scripted. Everyone thinks scripted, get out. It's not scripted. But if I'm an NFL writer and I'm like writing the story, the three-peat story, I'm putting the Eagles Chiefs in this game. I'm making that the first Super Bowl. I'm making it the last Super Bowl. I'm making it an Eagles team that looks pretty close to unbeatable. There are people that like love the Eagles in this game. I just don't know how you can love a team going against the Chiefs. But this is how I would write the story, and I'd write the narrative, and you take the Chiefs going from the golden boys of the NFL to the villains. It's a perfect narrative. It feels like it's written, even though it's not.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And if I'm a writer, I would also write Chiefs three-peat, not Eagles spoil Chiefs three-peat.
Yes, but you got to make people believe. You got to make people believe that they're going to spoil it. And I think that's the biggest thing. If one team, you could say Jalen in the comeback spot, the revenge spot. It doesn't feel like that though. Do you get that vibe?
What
it doesn't feel like a revenge game to me. It just feels like another game.
Yeah, I think part of that's also because of how quiet and reserved Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are, the 2 best players on the offense. Also, the Eagles roster has changed a lot. I mean, the Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Vontae Smith, Goddard, all them, they're still there. But 8 of their 11 starters on defense are new. Saquon is probably their best player, and he wasn't there last time. So it just feels very different.
Yeah, and I also want the one good thing about the Eagles here coming in this one, I feel like they've not been humbled, but we're not getting the cocky Eagles like we did. Like back in 22, I think that the cockiness of the Eagles was almost at an all-time high. Sirianni bursts onto the scene. Jalen Hurts becomes the guy. Like, this team is new and they're fun. Now I feel like they've been humbled a little bit. I haven't heard a lot. And again, we'll hear more when media conversations come up this week.
Yeah, I will say I would enjoy a Saquon Super Bowl because I think the way that he's handled himself has been awesome.
Yeah.
The fact I would have liked to have seen him go for the record. I think that's what sports are about, but he didn't do that. He sacrificed for the team. He battled through torn ACLs. From what we've seen this season, it's hard not to think what happened if, I'm going to throw the Cowboys out there because when he came in the league, the Cowboys had one of the best offensive lines in the league. But if you got drafted by the Cowboys, if you got drafted by the Eagles, if you got drafted by a team that took care of him and took some weight off his shoulders, could this be like one of the best running backs we've ever seen? Because as soon as he escaped the Giants, this is the first season we've gotten, and he was the 9th player to run for 2,000 yards in a season. Could he be in that historical chase of the most rushing yards for a career? Because he was at the Giants, he was getting hit in the backfield basically every play and never once complained. And, finally, now that he's gotten his opportunity, he seized it. So if they were to win a Super Bowl, I would respect it for Saquon.
Well, I mean, if you can't be happy for either one of these teams to win a Super Bowl, again, sick individual, like totally. Because again, Philly's trash. Like Philly's trash. Like I saw the videos of the Commanders walking out, them doing it's annoying, it's bad, but that doesn't represent the team. Like Jalen Hurts, a good dude, gospel prophet, speaking the words of the Lord, good dude. Saquon Barkley, good dude. AJ Brown, good dude. Like Jalen Carter, maybe I don't.
Not the best dude.
Speaking of Twitter, the Jalen Carter. This is not. I'm laughing. It's not funny. The Jalen Carter Rashee Rice, like sports cars. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's yeah. I
Jalen
mean, Jalen Carter. He wasn't driving the car. That's about all I
He
can give
wasn't?
him.
I didn't know. I didn't know if he was or not. I don't know. Twitter said he was basically, but
Well,
Jalen
he
Carter.
was. I don't think he wasn't driving the car that crashed. He was. I think he was driving the other car, like the car that was racing.
So Jalen Carter and Rashee Rice go in the game pretty fast. That's basically what the Twitter words were saying. Again, not good, just Twitter. But so there's a lot of good dudes on this team. Big play Slay, good dude.
You know my favorite thing about Darius. This is off topic, but Darius Slay is one of my favorite players in the NFL because you know how LeBron always has the same like format for his tweets and Instagram captions. It's like watch your head, coming through, strive for greatness. But the kid from Akron and the whole bunch of emojis. Every time Darius Slay gets cooked, it's always the same thing. It's like, Philly, that one's on me. Got to be better next time. Good win for the Birds, though. Like, it's always the same thing every time. I look forward to the Darius Slay tweets.
Last year, though, like when it was like big play Slay, like we were calling him big play Slay as like a joke because he was getting cooked so much. Like, he's been good this year. He's been really good.
I was going to say, it looked like it was time to hang him up last year, but he's been awesome this year.
Been awesome. So he's good. Like, good dudes on this team. Dallas Goedert, good dude. The whole Eagles offensive line, good dudes. Like, I'm happy for this Eagles team to win. And on the flip side, if the Chiefs win the football game and you start bitching about the refs, the refs and this and that, we witnessed history. You saw something that you could talk to your kids about someday. Yeah, I saw when the Chiefs won the third Super Bowl. It's like saying I saw when the Bills lost their fourth consecutive Super Bowl. Like, these are big moments. Like, we're going to have a 30 for 30 on this three-peat or the not the three-peat. We're going to have the 30 for 30 no matter what, but you can talk about that someday and say you watched it live. So I don't get either side here. Like, if you are actively rooting against these teams, and the people also saying I'm going to boycott the Super Bowl and not watch it, like, leave the country because you're going to watch Super Bowl.
People are so unhappy with everything these days that it genuinely bothers them when they see greatness. And not taking away from the Eagles here because the Eagles are great, but specifically the Chiefs. The Chiefs three-peat, something we've never seen before. You know, people are talking online. We're too harsh on Tom Brady and the Patriots. In hindsight, they weren't that bad. I wish Tom Brady would come here and end this dynasty. Like, what do you talk? It didn't matter if it was Tom Brady. It doesn't matter if it was Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't matter if it wouldn't have mattered if Jamarcus Russell in an alternate universe in the Raiders became the best thing ever. Then you would have hated them too. People just don't like greatness. They want change. They don't want to be made to feel inferior or their teams to be inferior or their favorite player to be inferior. So they hate whatever is the best thing going. So if the Eagles win this one, and you know what, the Eagles are back in the Super Bowl next year, then people are going to be rooting for the Eagles to lose because they don't want them to be great either.
No, I mean, Mahomes, genuinely good dude. Andy Reid, genuinely good guy. Travis Kelce, I know we see again, I wasn't a fan of the Taylor Swift stuff. The NFL's capitalizing on an opportunity, so I can't fault them for that. But Travis Kelce, he's fine. You know, he's fine. But pre-Taylor Swift, post-Taylor Swift, whatever, he's fine. You know, it's a good team. They're just they handle winning with class. So I can't imagine wanting to see them lose. And I'm good if they lose because I think the Eagles deserve Super Bowl and Saquon Barkley. But man, it's just like I don't get hate in both these sides. This is the Super Bowl that I would have wanted from day one.
And these are the two best teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I would have rather seen the Lions. Lions Chiefs probably would have been more fun because your Commanders ruined that for us. But you had the sweetheart, the darling of the NFL and Dan Campbell, and then you had the villain in the Chiefs. I think that probably would have been a little more fun, but this is still going to be a better game, I think, because the Eagles were a better team than the Lions.
Yeah, I agree. And if what we saw in the NFC Conference Championship game is any indication, the Eagles are peaking. This is the best version of the Eagles we've seen all year.
Yep. All right, Grant, why don't you take us out of here?
Guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line. Tanner and I appreciate you all joining us. Before you click out of here, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Make sure you check out WSN.com. We will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.